Greetings, welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub and perhaps a pub. wait a second. Perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast.
To throw you off with that, dude. I'm sorry.
That's classic. We're keeping that. Yes, I'm not sure that's Yoda or Baby Yoda, but it's there. Okay, yeah, we're the SciFi Pubcast. Perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. That's it. That's our opener line. We welcome anyone to join us at the bar because we're just talking about certain fandoms and geekery type stuff that we're passionate about because we're all about community. And as you can see, we have a couple of people on our show today visiting the bar. We have Carrie and her little green friend.
Yes, hi.
Hey, how you doing? We have Derek Beebe, as always.
Hi.
Yes.
I see there's still a price tag on that, Carrie. Did you shoplift that?
No, I just didn't take the tag. I just didn't take the tag off.
Oh my God, that's funny. And we also have another customer joining us. So he's been on our show before. Mike Clark. How you doing, Mike?
Pretty good, Joel. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Mike's is on the audio, so you don't have to see him naked, thankfully. Because we try to put the raw feed up on YouTube, and because there's some visual gags sometimes, and you can see our ugly faces and my beautiful beard. But here we are. So, yes, we're talking about The Mandalorian today, but before we get there, and because everyone talks about The Mandalorian, even me, perhaps on a different podcast called the Mando Night Football, but that's a little bit of an aside. Let's see. Carrie?
Yes?
How's your day been so far? What's new in your world?
Well, I'm a bit sleep deprived because I stayed up way too late watching The Expanse Season 4 yesterday. I mean, this morning. I mean, both. Yeah. So I'm not quite done with Season 4, but I'm there. I'm getting there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I got 3 more episodes to watch.
It is fantastic.
I really like how they really streamline certain story arcs from the books for television, and it's working. It's working very, very well.
Yeah, so. And I like how they're setting some stuff up for what would be books 5 and 6.
Oh yeah, can't wait.
I can't wait.
Derek. How's your day been?
Howdy. I have also been watching The Expanse, but I'm not binging it. I'm only watching one episode at a time because I want to savor it. I don't like, just marathoning through things because then I stop paying attention and it stops being special. But yeah, it's good so far.
Yeah,
This is actually a big weekend for streaming. You got Chapter 6 of The Mandalorian, the last chapter of the Imagineering story, The Expanse, If You Care, Runaways Season 3. Oh, and the new Michael Bay movie premiered on Netflix yesterday. I watched the first half of it, and it is like a full-on mega-budget Bay sanity movie. It's crazy. It's good if you like that sort of thing.
Michael Bay. What's the name of this movie?
It's called 6 Underground. It stars Ryan Reynolds. It's directed by Michael Bay of Transformers fame.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that was coming out. I missed it because I have taste. I mean, sometimes I miss things.
The opening 20 minutes is like this completely insane car chase through Italy. It's amazing.
Oh, good.
Oh, and the other notable thing about it is I've never seen this in a movie before, but when there's a car crash, human bodies go flying out and they look like human bodies. It doesn't look like CGI. It doesn't look like a stunt dummy. I have no idea how they're doing it, but it actually looks like human bodies.
See, that's why you should be wearing seatbelts, okay, folks? That's a public... No, it's public service announcement.
Baby Yoda has to wear a seatbelt.
Absolutely. And there's, of course, Mike. How you doing, Mike? It's still there? Oh, have you ran out of the bar?
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Just enjoying all your tales of recap on The Expanse. I've got my own, too. We attempted to start it last night, me and my wife. Unfortunately, we should not have started it as late as we did, and I think I got through half the episode, and I don't remember the other half. So I will be doing the savoring approach that Derek is doing by rewatching the entire episode.
Okay. I'm binge watching them, and then I'm going to go back and watch the season 4 again and get more of the details. because I've been multitasking because work is driving me nuts right now. I've been working my little butt off on my day job. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing such a very popular topic called The Mandalorian because, well, why not? But before we get there, there's a few other things we should talk about. First thing, we're the SciFi Pubcast. Derek, how's our kitchen doing?
It's
I'm afraid.
mostly clean. I went out by the river this morning with a net, and I got a bunch of frogs out of the river. So now, as you can see, they're hopping around the bar everywhere. So if you can catch one, you can eat it for free.
Oh, God. Yes, because that's what Baby Yoda did. I get what he did there.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, if you want to, I'll cook it, but
Okay.
I think you should,
I mean,
frog
be
legs.
true to the can and eat it raw.
Frog legs do taste like chicken,
Ugh.
but yeah, no, I'd rather just eat chicken.
Listen, I prefer
Sounds
you...
like a new bar. It's a new bar game that you can come up with now. You can feed Carrie's Baby Yoda with the frogs that Derek let loose.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, I take raw frogs over cooked Baby Yoda any day of the week, okay? So...
Me too.
Oh, dear God. Yes, so it's an interesting little bar we're in right now. Speaking of which, last week I took a week off of work last minute because I had a complete week freed up in my schedule, and I drove down to Orlando, Florida from Canada. It was a bit of a long drive. And I stayed in a couple different places, of course, but I went to Walt Disney World, in a certain part of Walt Disney World specifically called Galaxy's Edge the first time. It was
Nice.
awesome. And I know
Very jealous.
everyone in there.
So that makes two of us who have been to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, I've been to Anaheim yet. That's in August for a Star Wars celebration. But
Oh my God, I'm the last one to go out of the three of us.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
that is
Derek,
very
Derek, I
strange.
might beat you out actually because I'll
Oh
be
my
going
God.
in August.
Oh dear.
Anaheim.
Oh no. I'll definitely be going in April or May or something like that
Yeah.
to Orlando. So I'll beat you there.
I don't know. Is this a fireable offense, Joel?
No.
Okay.
In my contract, it said I had a year to go before I void the term.
Listen, I'm just trying to figure out a way to live in Orlando and actually have a decent quality of life. But apparently there's low wages, the bus system is terrible, and you have to drive everywhere. And yeah, it's not a easy spot to live. Let's just say that. So maybe someday.
Those roads were scary.
Yeah. There's been a...
Joel,
Yeah.
I was going to ask though, are you ready for the hotel experience?
Yeah, like I'm going to afford the hotel. It's going to be, what, $600 US a night? Probably at the bare minimum. I'm still trying to save money, and I'm playing the lottery a lot. So I could get lucky. It could happen. Definitely.
Well, if you do get lucky, Joel, remember who your friends are.
I always take care of my friends.
Aw.
That's what I'm all about.
We need to
But
get about a dozen of us together and, smuggle the rest of them in suitcases to get in there.
oh, I know. The hotel is going to be something special. I actually was in the park when Ride of the Resistance opened up, and I saw the press and the pre-day press organization stuff the day before. It was madness. So I went to the bar instead. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Because
this is a beer recommendation at the bar.
wait, see, into our next segment
Someone read the script.
is yes, I went to Olga's No, it's cool. Went to Olga's Cantina for the first time. And of course, that's the Star Wars bar that's in on Baku in Galaxy's Edge. And it was awesome. It was a great experience. I'm going to post some more pictures of it on our social media feed. I had to have what I'm drinking right now, this mug, because I've been buying tiki mugs for some strange reason. I have an addiction. This is the Yub Nub. And if you look closely,
That's actually very good.
It's the Battle of Endor.
Oh,
Yay.
cool.
It's really cool. And in the Yub Nub is Malibu pineapple rum, Sailor Jerry's spice rum, citrus juices, passion fruits, served in this great souvenir, which you can have for only $45 US.
Yeah, apparently this is the Star Wars equivalent of a Mai Tai.
Yes. Lovely.
I did sample a bit of one when I was at Galaxy's Edge. those drinks may be pre-mixed, but someone had a heavy hand with mixing them.
It was great. I had 2 drinks there. So how?
Well, that's the limit. You only get 2 drinks.
I know, terrible. The deal is, I had to reserve the day before. I got in, had a decent hour. It's always packed, right? This almost, if you don't get one of these booths, if you're not like a large party, you have to stand at the bar, and they want you out of the bar in 45 minutes. So it's like a 2-drink thing. But the surface was right on top of you. It's very highly organized, and just the scenery, the people watching, and a very cool bar.
Mhm.
It's from Star Wars. It's just so immersive.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
But
Carrie, when you went, it wasn't too packed, right?
no, it wasn't really that packed. Although we were there at like 10 o'clock in the morning, so the 3 of us were day drinking, pretty much.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
And you make it sound, Joel, like standing at the bar is a bad thing. I mean, that bar is gorgeous.
It is.
I would totally stand at the bar over sitting in a booth anytime. Besides, you might have to shoot your way out of the booth
Yes.
if you piss off the wrong person.
There's 4 different beers, right? So, but with you and a friend, you can get all 4 of them, right?
Yeah. There's a whole Rancor Tooth thing.
Or
Yeah.
you could get the Rancor Tooth sampler, which is like $90 or $90 or $100 or something. No, 75, and it's all 4 beers in little like Rancor teeth.
All right, I'll save up for that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Like nothing compares to it. If you haven't been to Galaxy's Edge, either on the East Coast, the West Coast, make it happen somehow, and spend some quality time in Galaxy's Edge. Yeah, even a couple hours. That's amazing, right? Just sit down, have a beer, people watch. Yeah, don't get arrested by the First Order. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I got outed by people on my trip and harassed by the First Order.
Yeah, I have this theory that
I was wearing an Imperial jacket too, and they thought that was even more suspicious. Okay.
Yeah, you were a rebel spy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally a rebel spy.
It just came over from Star Tours. You know how it works. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Now I have this theory that Oga, right from Oga's Canteen, is an old man who was a former, I don't know, bounty hunter in a previous life, kind of like the Mandalorian. If you do the timeline, what do you guys think? No.
Oh well, Oga is a woman.
Yeah. Haven't you read the Galaxy's Edge novel, Blackfire?
But that is only a cover story, right? Speaking of which,
Okay.
look at my shirt. Yes, that's quality Star Wars right there.
Cool.
Okay.
Or Oga could be like the Dread Pirate Roberts. The identity changes every so often.
Yes, absolutely. I think there's something up with that. So it's storytelling. The story has changed. It's all about a certain point of view. So.
Yes.
I also went to a bunch of other different bars down there because I love the whole Disney type bars. So I went to, of course, Jack Lindsay's, the Indiana Jones bar. I know the bar quite well. Definitely highly recommend that bar. Raglan Road, the Irish pub. They kind of know me by my first name in that place. Went to the Boardwalk, which is right by the Swan and Dolphin and Swan Resort, which is right behind Epcot. You can walk there. And they have this magic bar, can't even say the name. What's the spell? Abacadabra? Help me out, guys.
Abacadabra?
Yes, thank you very much.
No, I can't say it.
Abacadabra.
Yeah. So the bar itself is quite magical, but it's actually good. So definitely recommend that. But today we're here to get people's views on this new Star Wars TV show, the first ever Star Wars TV show series, live action series that is, called The Mandalorian. Now, I did mention that.
Never heard of it.
No,
There's a new series. What?
Yes.
Have I mentioned I'm sleep deprived? I don't recall these things.
Yeah. And just to plug my other show, which Ernie does, Ernie Garcia, Mike Templeton, myself, and this Chris McGuffin guy occasionally, called Mando Night Football. It's us dissecting each episode, so definitely give that show a listen to. Because
It sounded like you said Mennonites football.
that would be interesting. Mando Night Football.
Interesting.
Have I told you I've been working a lot and I'm kind of sleep deprived myself? Yeah, and sober, no less. Ugh, terrible. Let's go it like this. Since we have Mike here, Mike, what's your impressions of the series so far? And Mike,
Sorry, you were breaking up a bit, Joel.
Okay, sorry. I just said okay. Let's go with Mike first for his.
It was my cue. Gotcha.
Okay, wait, stop. Pause. So I can edit this. Pause. Okay, let's go it like this. Mike, what's your first take on this Mandalorian series?
So the series overall, I feel like I'm really surprised at how great each episode looks production-wise. It almost feels like little mini movies like you would see in the theater. I mean, it's not quite on the same level as the theater, but it's very, for the most part, it matches up, and it makes me very, very excited for the future of Star Wars, because I figure Disney Plus is going to play a big role in that going forward for all of our story content, whether it's live action or animated. And as the first live action foray into that world for Star Wars, I think they're doing a great job with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Carrie, what's your first take on it?
I'm very happy with the series. I know that the episodes are a bit shorter than people would like them to be. I know that the season is a bit shorter than people would like it to be, but I feel like that kind of pushes everyone to be very concise and very it pushes people to not waste time in the show. And you can get a lot done in 30-40 minutes especially if it's not very dialogue heavy, and the Mandalorian doesn't really speak all that much. So you don't need a whole lot of explanation, which is good.
Very interesting. So as of this date of recording, there's been 6 chapters so far, so we don't know what's going to end up happening in the next, 2 chapters? I believe there's 8 episodes in total this season.
Yeah.
And Derek, the best for last, man. What do you think?
I love it so far. I have a few minor quibbles, but for the most part, I think it's great. It's exceeded my expectations because I didn't know there was going to be a Baby Yoda. I just thought this was going to be a Mandalorian running around. And when that first episode ended with Baby Yoda, it completely blew my mind because it just raises so many questions and connotations. And what does this mean for the future of the franchise? And actually, that is one of my minor quibbles because we're 6 episodes in now, and we've gotten 0 answers about where this baby came from or why those Imperials were after him. I really wanted to get some kind of an answer at some point. We've had 3 kind of standalone adventures in a row, and the Mandalorian doesn't really seem to be trying to accomplish anything. He's not trying to hunt down answers about the origins of the baby or the Imperials who kidnapped him. He also needs not money. Trying to clear his name with the Bounty Hunters Guild. He's just kind of running around. I mean, I'm loving it all, but I really hope that the next 2 episodes give me some solid answers on what is going on with this baby.
And just to make sure we got this right, Baby Yoda is not your child, right?
My child.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Good.
Anti-children.
Okay. Some sort of science experiment went wrong.
I don't think the universe can handle that, Joel.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's been a great show. I've enjoyed all the episodes. Some of them are a little bit less than others, but that opening trilogy was just about perfect for me. And the one that just aired, number 6, was very good as well. And I really hope the last 2 just really knock it out of the park and give us some answers. Another minor
get those answers
I have.
Okay, wait. Let's hear from Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just saying, Derek, I'm not sure if we're even going to get a full set of answers on that, because it's kind of like the show is supposed to be the Mandalorian's point of view, but I agree with you that he's not like going around with a specific goal in mind, other than like Carrie said, well, he needs money. But I mean, at this point, he's got the child and he wants to protect him, and he's not really, I guess, diving into the wellspring of, well, where did this child come from? Well, it's a child like any other child in the galaxy, so he's not thinking too much of that. I think the Force aspect seemed to have thrown him for a loop a little bit, like he wasn't expecting that. So you would think he might have a little further, but then again, it might just be one of those, since we know we're getting multiple seasons, they could drag this out a bit where it's like, it's just the two of them, going off on their adventures and dealing with things. So I kind of am wondering myself, are we going to get some kind of closure arc for season 1 with the last 2 episodes, or is it just going to be almost like a setup to continue the story into season 2 rather than having a closure out for what we got in the first couple episodes?
Well, I don't know that he would have been in a position to have witnessed the Force aspect of the child or the asset, depending on who you ask, because he was kind of busy at the time, and he may not have had the presence of mind to realize that he was being helped out.
Oh no, he definitely saw it. I just watched.
I mean, he saw it, but night. But like I said, he was kind of busy at the time, so it may not have registered what exactly was happening. And for all we know, the Mandalorian may not have any reason to recognize who this kid might be, or where the kid might have come from. Because, I mean, unless, and I haven't heard this theory at all, but unless it turns out that it was Yoda that rescued him back during the Clone Wars, I don't see that he would have had any reason to be in contact with anyone that looks like the kid.
The whole Yoda and Yaddle theory is interesting. There's also the clone theory.
Yeah,
well, and he was born right when Anakin was born too, so he's 50 years old, just when same exact time when Anakin was born. Not that means anything, but I mean, it seems like an awfully coincidental pick.
Right.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it would be crazy if they did this, but Baby Yoda could be the Neville Longbottom of the series, in that he is born at the same time as the prophesied one, which basically means that he could be the prophesied one, and it's just kind of up to fate which one of them turns out to be the big one.
Yeah, that's an interesting twist.
He's all ears for it.
Well, and the other thing I keep coming back to is, oh crap, I lost my train of thought.
Clones, Baby Yoda.
Clone Baby Yoda. Because the one guy that was with the one person that hired
Dr. Pershing.
He was wearing a uniform from
Kamino.
Yeah, so he might be working he might be a cloner. I'm sure that theory has been kicked to death so far. I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. Sleep deprivation.
Clone Yoda has a lot of interesting story potential as well if they go that route.
Right. Well, and I mean, even if you take into Legends canon, Legends material, we've only maybe seen half a dozen of Yoda's species ever. Because there was, Yoda, there's Yaddle, there's the child now, and then there are like 3 or 4 Jedi in like the KOTOR, SWOTOR games, and that's it.
Just little aside, I just saw something on Instagram earlier today where at Galaxy's Edge, in the baby's changing a diaper station in the restrooms, there's an icon of a Baby Yoda now with the ears.
How timely.
That's great. So what else besides Baby Yoda? What do you think this series is going to go, since we're on this topic?
We we could talk the mystery at the end of Chapter 5 and all our theories there.
Is it too late to say there's spoiler alerts? Because, yeah, you should actually see The Mandalorian before you listen to a podcast talking about it. Okay.
Well, make sure you put something in the description, Joel.
Yeah.
Warning about.
Yeah, and of course I'm talking to of course Randall Grant. Randall, go see the series first, man. Okay. So yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, well, I mean, at the end of Chapter 5, since we're talking full spoilers, the assassin that ended up getting assassinated or killed directly by Fennec, looks like some mysterious person suspect body at the end of that episode. And so that's jumped off a lot of different theories potentially of what that could mean or be. Because so far, like a lot of people are saying, episodes 1, 3, and now 6 seem to be almost universally positively loved. 5 was one of those ones that got some people not so happy with it because it went back to Tatooine, and we had a lot of, fan servicey things that were well done. But some people weren't as big a fan of how much of that there was. And I'm still standing by that they wouldn't have gone there. I know Filoni did that episode specifically, but I don't think they would have gone there strictly just for fan service. I feel like they would have only done it if there was a story-served purpose in going there. And so I keep coming back to a theory I had before the show started, which was much like Filoni's done with Rebels at the end of Season 1 where we got Ahsoka and Vader, at the very end of that. I'm thinking we're going to get some kind of big cameo in the very final scene of Season 1's finale. My guess has always been that we're getting Boba Fett back because that was Favreau's original interest of what he wanted to do in the first place. At the time, they didn't let him because Fett movie was still supposed to happen before, Solo and Disney Plus and the Kenobi reworking of that into a series. So my thought is they're going to lead that into Season 2 as a hook, and Fett's going to be back in some capacity going forward is my running theory, and I think some other people may share it as well.
Well, and no, go ahead.
Has that been definitively said that Favreau originally wanted to do Boba Fett?
Yeah, he came to Lucasfilm and was requesting to do a Fett project when he first came to them, and they had told him no because the Fett film project was still kind of on the shelves in the works. I think that was around 2017 or something like that, 2016. So as far as I know, that was his original intent, and they told him, well, you can't do that, but here, how about, and they kind of steered him towards the idea of doing a Mandalorian idea show, where he came up with that as his next idea, and talking with Filoni, of course, since they shared that time on Clone Wars, doing a lot of the Mandalorian story. He was the voice of Pre Vizsla on the Clone Wars show, and he enjoyed a lot of that lore as well, working with Filoni, so I think that's kind of where that matriculated from.
Well, but that also leads to my theory about my comments about how you can't with the way the shows are very short and the season is very short, you can't waste anything. So everything even that last shot in Chapter 5 needs to serve a purpose. Because you can't afford to waste time doing something that isn't going to go somewhere.
Definitely.
With the amount of time that you have.
I'm just looking forward to the big battle at the end of Season 1 between the Jawas and the Ewoks. God, I want a T-shirt of that, and a tiki mug, with you got Ewoks and where's my Jawas and a bunch of battle casualties. Be good.
You have any theories on that, Derek?
I personally think that Boba Fett is too obvious a choice. My personal theory is that it's going to be Cad Bane because he also is a cowboy type character. I don't remember if he had jingles and spurs or not, but I think that would be a really cool thing to have in live action. Then again, how many people would know who Cad Bane is?
They will by the end of the show.
Yeah, and then there's the really crazy theory that if you read Wendig's Aftermath trilogy, there's some Tatooine sheriff called Cobb Vanth who buys Mandalorian armor that is allegedly Boba Fett's because it's been stained by acid, and he starts wearing that armor and he's going around on Tatooine wearing it. But That would be a really obscure reference to put on the TV show.
I should clarify my theory, too, to say that I just think it's going to be someone wearing the Fett armor, whether it's actually Fett from the Sarlacc, rescued, or whether it's Cobb from the Aftermath interludes. That I don't know, but I just figure it's got to be something tied to that since they went to Tatooine purposefully. That's why my theory links to that. I was thinking it before the episode, but once we got the episode, I was like, oh, I think they're doing this. And then when I saw the little mystery end point there, I was like, oh, I think it's a real possibility now. So I don't know. It could be Cobb, though.
And, of course, the really lazy answer is that it's just the bad guy of the closing episodes, Giancarlo Esposito. Is that his name from Breaking Bad?
Yeah, he plays Moff guy.
Gideon.
Okay.
Yeah, and it could be him, but then everyone was like, well, why would a Moff be out by himself on Tatooine roaming around? And it just seemed a little bit like kind of an odd, but it very well could be that, or it could even be Grief. Is it Grief? Grief?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
especially-
Karga. Yeah, Carl Weathers.
Well, especially with all those stormtrooper helmets on pikes, I don't think that would be the best place for an Imperial to be wandering around alone.
You mean that they're not decorations?
Christmas
Well, I
ornaments.
mean, they're decorations now,
Okay.
but they had to come off of some people, right?
Yeah. True. Yeah. How about all those Easter eggs in this series? Especially the Easter egg, but still.
The egg.
That reminded me so much of Dinks from Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, I knew it. And there was a Gungan reference in yesterday's episode.
Yeah.
A Gungan. God, I'm having like flashback nightmares. Okay.
Yeah. The idea that a Gungan would fit under that helmet is very very interesting.
Oh wow! Ouch.
Ow.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about all the constant celebrity cameos? Does it take you out of it, or do you enjoy it?
No, it's
I
great.
like it. I don't know who half of them
enjoyed
are, so.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that sometimes you just can't tell because they're wearing so much makeup. You know, was it Clancy Brown? You know, yeah, it's like,
Oh,
who's this guy?
He was having wow.
Yeah, it's like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? And I had to wait until the end of the episode to figure out who he was. That's classic.
Well, I picked his voice out immediately, but it was amazing how different and younger he looked, because he is not a young man anymore. He looks very old now, but slathered in that red makeup, he actually looked like a young person again.
See, I didn't recognize him because he had a head. He kept his head.
Very good, Joel.
Thanks. Highlander.
And I am ashamed to say that I did not even recognize Matt Lanter as the New Republic security guard on the prison ship, even though you could clearly see his face. And I watched Timeless too. He was the voice of Anakin on the Clone Wars animated series, and then he was also the star of the NBC time travel show Timeless.
Yeah. Well, and then we have the Dave Filoni cameo this time around too.
I like that one.
And do you know who the two other people were?
They were also the directors of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's right. So they had 3 directors being the entire squad.
Nice.
So it was like Rick Famuyiwa, and this the other one is
I don't remember.
Debbie Chow.
Debbie Chow.
Yeah,
Doing the Kenobi series.
Yeah, Deborah Chow. That's So.
Yeah.
Amazing.
My personal favorite cameo was Amy Sedaris in episode 5. I don't know if anybody watched Strangers with Candy. It was this Comedy Central series back around the year 2000.
No.
I remember.
She was so funny in that.
Although I because I haven't watched any of the movies, I didn't pick up the reference, but I totally saw the Ripley comparisons as soon as people started posting, like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, she totally looks like Ripley.
Oh, I never thought of that before now, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I will say those are the quibbles that you were talking about, your quibbles, Derek. The only few that I've had, a couple of them, like one of them was episode 3 with the waitress. The other was, I'm sorry, episode 4 chapter 4 with the waitress, and chapter 5, as you mentioned, with Strangers with Candy. Those two moments with those characters were the only things that at times made me feel like I was watching almost like an SNL sketch or like maybe an episode of Seinfeld. Maybe those aren't the best comparisons, but it did take me out at the moment because I just felt like the way the acting was happening in those scenes was just felt a little bit out of place almost for what the tone had already been, but it still worked. It just, but it made me stop and think. So it was like, and most of the time I've not had to, the analytical brain part is not turned on at all while I've been watching this. It's all been like, a real fun and entertainment ride. Not much has taken me out of the shows as I've watched each episode.
Yeah, I see. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just see it as like a Flash Gordon serial. It's supposed to be fun and lighthearted most of the time. And I think it's working. It just is a different style of Star Wars, which we haven't seen before.
Humor is great. Awesome. Yeah. No, I think I said this on one of the Discord channels I'm on, but the only thing that has really taken me out is this last episode, how stiff the Liku were on the Twi'leks. It's like, it's 2019, and the Liku this week looked worse than the ones we had in the 80s. It's like there was no life to them at all. It just, I'm sure there was a technical reason for why budget cuts, yeah.
But I didn't think that it was very consistent with the way Hera's Liku operated in Rebels, because hers always kind of looked stiff and I don't know. I don't know how to
describe, now we're back to budget cuts, because that was the animation. They probably couldn't afford to add the extra motion to the animation for the show.
Yeah. But even then, like they could have, I don't know, consulted with the guys who did the makeup from Star Trek Enterprise with the way the Andorians had their antennas moving and stuff like that. I don't know. It just seemed a bit lazy on the part of something that came out of Disney.
They've never been prehensile though. They don't move.
No, yeah, actually, they do. They
what?
Do
not like a monkey's tail type of thing.
No, not like a monkey's tail, but they do move to indicate language and deeper meaning of feelings and stuff like that.
Did we see that on screen somewhere?
It's been talked about in a lot of the books, both in Legends and the new timeline stuff.
We need to get one on as a guest to explain it. So, if you guys know anyone,
I don't know any Twi'leks. So
yeah, we need more customers, and we're all about inclusivity. So anyone's invited.
The budget thing, though. I mean, it goes back to, like I said earlier. I mean, everyone, like Carrie mentioned, a lot of people have an issue with how short a lot of the episodes are, and that we're only getting 8 of them. But if you think about it, the reason it does look as good as it does, despite the quibbles here and there that we see, is it's $10 million an episode, and they got an $80 million total budget, basically. So if we were going to have hour-long episodes, or we were going to have twice as many episodes, then the budget per episode would be a lot smaller, and we wouldn't probably have it looking quite as good as it is looking. So I think just because there would be, limitations on what they could do based on budget anyway, it's not that a lack of quality or wanting to deliver a quality product, but they've got to stay within budget when they do it. So I think from what they're pulling off, given the budget they've got per episode, despite any little bits and technical flaws here and there that might show up, I think it looks really good.
Yeah, me too.
I just hope they don't increase the prices of the tiki mugs at Oga's. So I paid $45 for this, and yeah, I don't want to pay $50.
There's only 2 or 3 more you have to get, right, Joel?
I have to make 2 or 3 more trips then. It's going to happen, that.
You're funding future series, Joel. Just keep it going.
Yeah.
Well, or you're funding future improvements to the parks, because I think that's something I said on a different podcast is my only real issue with Galaxy's Edge was that they basically, when they did the animatronics for
Hondo,
they basically just took Hondo's face and put it on an unused Jack Sparrow animatronic, because most most weak babes don't have that much hair.
Oh wow.
It's like that like this is like wow, this is lazier than I would expect from something that came out of Disney. And then like I said, the with that coupled with the Twi'leks this week was just like they couldn't have figured that out a little better. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just not trying to take this series too seriously.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
not taking it too seriously at all. But
Yeah.
still, it's like,
Yeah, that's why we use the term quibbles, right? Because it's all
Yes.
overall. I think every episode, even I think people who've had some criticalness of, say, episodes 4 and 5, I even think whenever they were critical of it, generally speaking, they were still saying they found it, enjoyable. They never felt like it was just a utter trash, or they couldn't stand to watch it, or it was painful to watch. None of it's been like that.
right.
No, I really like this series. I like the Western vibe. I like this samurai vibe that goes with it. I like the mysteries. I like the fact that cultures change. The whole Mandalorian mystery. Are they a warrior race? I thought they were peaceful at one point during the Clone Wars.
Well, this could be just his tribe too.
Right.
We don't know.
And there's lots of things online on YouTube which tries to explain it, but we don't know. And that's great. I love mysteries in my storytelling. Well, as I appreciate storytelling.
I think somebody in episode 6 said, I thought all the Mandalorians were dead, suggesting that the Empire all but wiped them out in the Siege of Mandalore.
Or they're hiding underground because
Yeah.
see, I know in Clone Wars, when we get that next series on Disney Plus, season 7 is going to give us Siege of Mandalore, which is a story they've been, kind of telling us bits about over the years. The Ahsoka novel has some of it and such, but the Mandalorians were also still around at the time of Rebels, although they had aligned themselves with the Empire at that, or at least the faction that we see going against Sabine and her family. They're aligned with the Empire at that time.
Oh yeah, right.
So that's happening, and we don't really know what happens to the Mandalorians as a whole during the original trilogy time frame. At least not in the current canon. I don't believe we've covered anything in that timeline. So from the covert, is that what it's called, that the Mando's a part of on this? It seems like at least their tribe is hiding out underground and trying to make it seem like they don't exist anymore. And they mention a purge, but the purge seems to be something the Empire carried out. So I'm guessing that's not Siege of Mandalore, since the Empire barely existed when that happens. And I'm thinking there must be some other event that happened maybe after the Rebels situation.
That's
where
what
there
I was
a purge.
thinking. That's what I was thinking. Some kind of retaliation for the beginning of season 4 of Rebels.
Kind of, it could have been Operation Cinder when the Empire was just destroying entire planets.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, and we got 5 years after Return of the Jedi as well to work with. So when all that stuff, all the post-Emperor Empire fallout would have been happening. So it could have been a recent event too.
Maybe when the Emperor died, the Mandalorians rose up against their occupiers and they basically destroyed the entire planet or system, and only a few survived.
Maybe they just didn't pay their bar tab off at the bar.
Well, they don't drink. They can't drink without. Well, actually, they probably could drink without taking off their helmets. They just have to get straws.
Yeah, straws. Yeah, we had a whole conversation about this on the other podcast. Mando Night Football. Drink. No, okay. Yeah.
Well, they could take their helmets off as long as they're in front of a bunch of kids playing out in the field, right? That's okay.
Well,
no.
it
No.
was inside.
Yeah,
It was inside where no one could see him in the shadows.
Yeah, I think that's one of the mysteries that's going to come across, like the whole helmet business, like who's under the helmet. Yeah, that's going to happen. That's going to be explained. Now, the question I have,
because they've said that Pedro Pascal isn't always in the costume.
He wasn't even present for episode 4. Bryce Dallas Howard never worked with him, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
No, but she worked with John Wayne's grandson, so that's cool.
The kids in that little field area playing on that episode, they actually saw John Wayne's grandson then, because that's who was there when the helmet came off.
Okay.
Sure. Why not?
Do you think we're going to see the face of Mando this season, guys? What do you guys think?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm actually thinking, well, I guess it really depends what other surprise things they drop in the finale, because I'm not sure which way they might go with that. I kind of think they'll leave it a mystery and leave it on at this point. I don't think he's gonna reveal it to anybody. I was when they were doing episode 6 yesterday. I was thinking, was it Devorian? Is that how you say it?
Devronian?
Yeah.
That's it. I was thinking that he was actually going to successfully get the helmet off, and you might get a quick glimpse from the audience point of view. You wouldn't see it, but they might actually see what he looks like, and the helmet goes back on real quick or something like that. But I don't think he's going to take it off. Maybe if this is a multi-season show, maybe he never takes it off for anybody until the very last episode of the whole series.
Maybe.
Like Wilson in Home Improvement, you know.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Hey, what do you guys make of the whole anti-droid bias thing that's going on in with the Mandalorian? But we have the cantina scene at Mos Eisley where it's now droids in the bar, tending bar, and there was a droid bartender in Mos Eisley in the spaceport, right? Which is a direct opposite.
That was the torture droid from Jabba's palace.
Yeah, exactly. Works kind of hard to find. But this actually was a droid on the customer side of the bar, drinking, right? This is the bar that only recently, like before 1977 or whatever it is, New Hope in the timeline. So how many years before the Battle of Yavin? Didn't let droids in. It just showed.
Well, obviously there's a new owner at this point who doesn't care.
Yeah,
or Chalman doesn't care anymore.
Or cultures change, right? Communities change because Mos Eisley in Chapter 6, it wasn't very busy. I think the economy tanked when the Empire left or when the Empire fell. Yeah, the economy went with it.
He was running the economy too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that droid needed a job. Might as well tend bar.
And
he has
the Empire
has the attitude for it.
And the Empire allowed a lot of that stuff to thrive anyway, right? The gangsters and a lot of the underworld such. I mean, a lot of times the Empire turned blind eyes to it or helped facilitate it because they were the ones, along with the bounty hunters, helping them track down things with the rebels and such during that time period. So maybe once the Empire was gone, and also Jabba, a lot of that traffic going through Tatooine from the gangster business, the smuggler business, a lot of that may have dried up. So really, it could have been a economic impact to the Cantina and other places. I mean, I am enjoying seeing post-Empire, New Republic era kind of situation in the galaxy because we're getting a little more like lived-in context than we have necessarily from the sequel trilogy with that. So I feel like this is giving us just a little more taste of that, and it seems like nobody really seems to care for the New Republic either in the Outer Rim. So
yeah, is that? What else?
What did you guys think of episode 2? Because I noticed a lot of people say, like, 1, 3, and 6 are the good ones, but I thought 2 was great. I think the first opening trilogy was just uniformly excellent.
I liked 2. I thought the humor in it was great, and the Jawas and all that was unexpected. I think, was it Carrie mentioned about the no dialogue kind of thing, or the very limited dialogue? Yeah. That's a great episode with that showcased.
I actually like episode 4. That's the one with the village.
And all the Jurassic Park references.
Yeah, there's that. The Endor. Just that episode strikes me as very Native American influenced, and it was really neat. And I love the whole ATST and how the eyes of the transport was like red, and it was almost like a horror homage. I like that.
They had the horror aspect in episode 6 too. I thought was really well done with the prisoner ship and the way they kind of executed some of these scenes there when Mando was taking out the different people. I thought that was well done too from a cinematic standpoint. And I liked 4 is where I think though if season 1, like Derek was saying, if it opens and closes as a whole arc, I think that if season 2 is meant to be a whole new starting point with a new story, then I see him maybe reaching that retirement mode at the end of the 8th episode, and then if he does take his helmet off, it'll be in front of the lady character that he was kind of getting close with in episode 4. And it'll be there. They'll have that scene together where it looks like he retires on that planet with her. But then in season 2, something happens and brings him back out of retirement, so to speak, if they don't continue a cliffhanger right into a season 2.
Could be.
Possibly.
My one complaint about episode 4 is that Cara Dune just parts ways with him at the end. I thought she was gonna, join up with him and be
No,
his
she
partner.
might be back.
She better be.
They've said that she's gonna be back for season 2. So
Yeah,
That's a good question. Do you guys think, I've heard this theory out there, or at least some people seem to subscribe to the fact that they think there's going to be this big crew gathering thing by Mandalorian by the season finale, almost like an Avengers moment where they bring everybody back together. Do you think we're going to see all these characters that we've been introduced to throughout these episodes brought back into the fold for like one big finale episode?
I don't know. I'm not opposed to it, but I think there is an issue with that ship of his is rather small, and they can't all fit on his ship. They would have to either have like some kind of home base or like several ships to
They
operate
could just
out
have a
of.
cuddle puddle.
No,
Carbon freezing, safe
carbon
space.
freezing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can see it. They're
I
coming.
think someone suggested that for the kid too, which
Yeah.
is all kinds of wrong.
Well, instead
Although
of a new babysitter every episode, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
How's
Well,
this?
I mean, the kid is 50. The kid is 50 years old, so in theory, the kid is old enough to be left alone. However, this is an infant, so it may require a babysitter for at least the next century, and that's gonna get kind of hard.
I can see people coming together for like a funeral, which is an interesting notion. Someone's going to die important. And maybe the Mandalorian. Yeah, let's kill the Mandalorian off at the end of season 1.
Yeah,
And then
let's
Fett comes back and takes his place.
yeah, let's kill off the main character. Sure.
And
Oh.
then the season 2 title card is the Mandalorian with little asterisk next to it.
Or it could be a wedding. It could be a bar mitzvah. I don't know. There's something. Okay.
I definitely hope and expect Cara Dune comes back before the end of the season. If she was only in one episode, that would be really weird because they promoted that character heavily. But then again, they also did the same for, Breaking Bad guy. So
Well, and Grief too. I would expect that Grief is the one character I think that we might see again. Wait, am I saying that right? It's Grief, right? Yeah.
yeah, Grief Park.
Yeah, I keep thinking we'll see him back before the whole season ends. He's the only one that I'm kind of thinking for sure that we should see again before it ends. I don't know about everybody else. I don't think we're getting Nick Nolte's character back at the end. I mean, Cara maybe would come back, or Cara. I think we might see her again, but everybody else I think could have been a one and done. Like everyone's speculating whether I forget her. Is it Ming-Na Wen? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's thinking, well, she's such a good actress, and it's a waste to just have her one and done. So they all are speculating that she's still around and not actually dead. But I don't know. I think it's okay to have these stories where it's about the point of view of, say, Mandalorian and maybe Baby Yoda's the sidekick here, and they go through these different adventures, almost like the solo comics you used to see, whether it be like the Deadpools or the Cable or Wolverine. I'm thinking Marvel and X-Men is kind of my go-to with comics. So thinking along those lines, it's like these stories of adventures. It's about the character going through these different adventures, meeting different people or different villains and stopping different things. And maybe there is an overall story arc that you get to through those adventures, but it's not really it's not a team or an ensemble story. It's not meant to be about all these characters coming together. I'd be okay if they don't do the everyone reunites for an Avengers like moment in the final episode to take care of some big, I'm perfectly happy if they just keep it with a core set of characters, even if it's just Mando and Baby Yoda, and just develop that over the next couple of seasons. But I guess we'll have to see how it goes with this finale.
Well, I mean, he did need throughout this series so far. We have seen him have to cultivate a new set of contacts because he's either pissed off or killed his old set of contacts.
Yeah,
So,
we should take a moment to remember IG-11 because I don't think he's going to make the meeting. So
Yeah, I couldn't believe they got rid of him after one episode. I'm still hoping there's another IG droid in the finale because if he was a one and done, that would be so disappointing.
Well, I think if they bring everyone back, they'll probably figure out a way to bring that one back too, or at least another version, because there's how many different IG units, right? So they could always bring another one back, and that Taika could take care of acting out the performance for. But maybe I guess that could happen. We'll see them all again. I mean, everyone enjoyed all these characters so much. That's why you don't want to see, like, I loved seeing all the Mandos in action on Chapter 3 was, to me, something I didn't think we would even get, and if we did get it, I figured it would save it for the finale. I wouldn't mind seeing them show back up again in the finale to help them out, but they already did that in 3, so I don't think they'll do it again. But I loved that whole sequence. That was great.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah,
that was a highlight.
I agree.
I just thought of something. Why doesn't he just put the Baby Yoda with his clan where they're in hiding? Because then you'd have an entire community of Mandos protecting him, because their entire culture is based on adopting people outside of their, genetic family and bringing them in and making them one of them. So why
we don't know if that's still part of their culture or not.
And they all went their separate ways. I thought that's why he said they'd have to rebuild
he said you'd have to move the covert, suggesting they were all moving together to a new location.
Yeah, but you'd have to scatter and then
regroup.
They'd have to scatter and regroup, and that takes time.
And they don't have a lot of money, and diapers are expensive.
Yeah.
See, that's one of the nitpicks I have with this show. Does he take care of himself? Does Mando have to change his diaper? Like, these are real world issues that they really need to have established whether it's happening or not. Because you could, even if it's just like a throwaway line or something, you could have like a dumb, George Lucas style poop joke. But yeah, I really need to know, is this baby self-sufficient? Is he taking care of himself? I mean, we already seen that he can feed himself by going after frogs. But yeah, is he house trained? I need to know.
There was a litter box in that closet, right?
I think so, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, brutal. Well, guys, let's keep the show for about an hour because I have to edit it and I have to go to work and have to fly out west. Any last thoughts? Where do you want this TV show to go?
I have one more minor nit.
Oh, go for it.
It drives me crazy how trusting he is of people and how he leaves his ship open all the time.
Oh no, he learned his lesson after the second episode.
Yeah, it's like doesn't he have a security system on his ship? He literally leaves the door open.
Well, he spent all of his earnings on upgrading his armor. The upgrade of the ship's security is going to be next on his list, apparently. Along with hopefully some rear-mounted guns.
Yeah, he's very good at violence. He's not very good at making good judgment calls, right? Doing business with bad people, being portrayed by ex-colleagues. Showing the baby to people he should be showing the baby to. Yeah, terrible.
Well, Joel, actually, that's a good example of what another reason I think the show works well is because you see the Mandalorian he does do some badass stuff, but he is not always like on top of his game. He's not perfect. He's not. He's shown to have flaws in his abilities, whether it be his fighting, his tech, or whatever else he's dealing with, the people he trusts. And that kind of makes it interesting because, he is a bounty hunter. I don't think he necessarily has the same reputation that maybe Fett had in that sense. So, he gets the job done, but it doesn't mean it's squeaky clean when he does it. And I think that adds to his character. And so does the not liking droids thing. His background story from the Clone Wars, which I thought was a nice touch to see the Separatist droids there on his flashbacks, and that he really doesn't like droids because of what he went through as a kid. That also adds a neat little extra characteristic to him that I think they played well with for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was really surprised that he wasn't an invincible badass because I don't know the very early trailers and stuff kind of made it look that way. So I was very surprised that he was actually kind of like a nice guy, a trusting guy. He messes up. That I didn't see that coming. Not that it's a bad thing, except for the trusting people part.
All right. I would like to see the battle between Ewoks and Jawas. And we all know. And add the Guggins in as well, right? Have a battle royale. Why not?
Baby Yoda opens magic portals to the different worlds.
Let's throw some porgs in there for fun.
Yeah, lovely.
The Ewoks and the Jawas can fight over who gets to eat the porgs.
Oh God, that's great. Okay, Derek, what's your last takeaway? What you want to see happen at the end of the season?
At the end of the season, I want to see Cara Dune come back. I want to see some real answers about where Baby Yoda came from and what the Imperials wanted to do with him. And yeah, that's it.
Cool. Carrie, what's yours?
Yes. I don't know that I have any real big ones. I'm trying not to be too greedy about the show because it's been awesome already. I appreciate what they've been doing. I would also like to see Cara Dune come back. Maybe another IG droid. Maybe a hint of an appearance from either Sabine or Ahsoka. That would be awesome. Yeah. But I would be happy with wherever they go with it.
Cool. And Mike, my friend, what's yours?
Well, it's like I definitely I'll still go with my Fett theory over Ahsoka or Sabine, but I mean I don't have any particular wants for the end. I am hoping that we do have a nice wrap up for this season on the story, and that we do get. I'm interested to see what kind of cliffhanger they're going to give us because I figured they're going to give us something. But I am curious to see if episodes 7 and 8, since they are split. 7 comes out right before Rise of Skywalker. I am curious to see if there's going to be any kind of tie-in potentially, so we get maybe an answer on the Baby Yoda thing, as well as perhaps having it have some linkage into what we're going to see in Rise of Skywalker, and then we finalize out with the season finale on the 8th episode. So I am curious to see what will happen, but no real particular wants that I've got to have. I'm just enjoying the ride and curious to see what comes next.
Yeah, that'd be great if there's some sort of tie-in with the new movie with Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Well, guys, I hate to say this. We can talk for hours upon hours, but I got work to do, real work, which I'm obligated under a deadline. So I got to close the doors to this bar. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, yes, we're closing our doors. Join our Discord server / community. We have some interesting conversations there sometimes, and a good source of news. You can find an invite on our Discord server through our social media channels, which are Twitter, which I do, which is focused on sci-fi and industrial news. I also do the Instagram, which is on more food, bar, restaurant-related stuff. And Derek does a Facebook page. Derek, you're doing great. Yeah, you're doing a great job with that. Just saying.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. Our Twitter address is at SciFi Pubcast. Our email address is at management@scifipubcast.space. Please leave a positive review wherever you get this podcast. It helps others find our show. And let's see. Derek, what's your Twitter address?
I'm at Derek J. Beebe.
And Carrie, what's yours?
I'm at Carrie Blackfire42. That's Keri Blackfire42.
Great. Mike, what's your Twitter address?
I'm not really using Twitter these days, so you could find me on the SciFi Pubcast Discord channels.
There you go.
Smart man.
Yeah, very smart. Yeah, because social media is sometimes it's hits and miss. That's for sure. My Twitter address is at Joel_Welch, WLCH. It's closing time, folks. Please make it home safe, and don't get caught by the Mandalorian if there's a bounty on your head. That'd be bad. So, see you next time. Cheers.
What are you trying to say, Joel?
This is the way.
It is the way.
I have spoken.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Jea Rhea. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.